More gallons. More gallons. See, lights. And look at the shape of this hair. See all the circuitry in it. See, there's a square right in the center. There's another one. Look at this, look. These are the ones I pull out. See it all, look at the chip. The squares, look, in there. All the colours, look. Look, square, 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 square. The colours are all round the squares. And all perfect squares and cubes. And these are the ones I pull out. And I say I've got hairs that's not human. They're not human hair. They're no longer a human hair. Look at them. They are not human. I don't care what anyone say. They are not from my body. Well, they are from my body. And they're grown in my body. Look, and that's hydrogel around them. Hydrogel's the medium that used to grow it. Programmable matter. These are the ones I pull out because they're different colour than normal hair. So I pull them out. And this is what's all white. And this is why I pull them out. Because they're transparent hairs. So I need to get rid of them. See that? They're letting this happen to me. Because no one's trying to stop it. That's what I mean. They're just waiting till that take over my body, isn't they? Because no one's doing anything to stop it from taking over. Look at this one, look. I don't get no help for it. No one will talk about it. It's like a dirty little secret. That's like, I don't want to talk about that. And look at it, it's just full of chips. These are the hairs I pull out. See, ram full of circuitry. See that? It's just full of it, look. Like one big computer. And oh look, the infector. The little ribosome. With its little seed that go into your hair follicle. And then your hair follicle get hijacked. And then your hair start making this stuff. Which were quantum hooked to the D-Wave machine at DARPA and CERN. Look at it, see, the fibres get took into the hair, and then once it's took into the hair make this, and then hydrogel make this. This is quantum dot. BBC even advertised quantum dot before pandemic. Work that one out. Saying that go under your skin. And all see, look at it. All academia's involved in this. All academia. And government and big tech, big pharma. They've all got their hands dirty. But academia don't know that they killed millions of people. The NHS and the social services who use this technology for real-time surveillance to protect one child, they killed millions and millions of parents for the technology and will never recoup it, no matter how many kids they save. There'll be millions now grow up without kids, and not only without kids, kids grown up in fucking necrophilias because they got took away from their parents because of this. because the parents were either too ill or mind controlled, which is another thing. They make people ill deliberately and make them look like they're mental, so they lose their kids. And then the social services see the part when the parents are bad, not realising that the same technology which is used to make the parent look bad is being used to make them bad. So the problem, reaction, solution is all in this. Look, see the rib zones, the fibre filaments get took up into your cells, and then it grow. See, look at it. It's just ram full. This is in my head. So it's not no biosensor for my heart monitoring. It's in my skull. This is all from my head. These are hairs that I pull out with tweezers because of their see-through colour. So I deliberately take these out because of the colours to try and keep myself from having too many of them. The only way I can do it is to pull them out with tweezers. I pull thousands out. I wait 3 days and get loads. Sometimes I have to take a whole patch of my hair out of my face. See, it's just ram full of technology and it's still going. It's not got to stop growing until it take over my whole body and I'm no longer me. What's that if that's not slavery? Tell me it's not a slavery system. Taking someone's free will and doing it under the guise of health. And look at the Olympics as well. You'll see all the nurses in the Olympics turn to robots. Look it up. And you even see the COVID. You see the COVID come out. They show the whole stadium light up to the spike protein. The so-called spike protein. Which obviously we know was all bull. Because the elderly got medaslammed. We know that. But the public don't, because big tech censor it. So the normal people don't see this. Because no one will ever see it. Because the video gets censored. I don't think the normal public can even deal with something like this. People can't compute. The truth. This is the truth. You can't handle the truth. But they will keep me on psycho meds for this. Well, and that's probably the psycho meds is also contaminated. And the side effects, unexplained sudden death. That's the side effect of the medication they give me. But I shouldn't worry about it because it's just a side effect. Death, you know. Don't worry about it. That's just a side effect. You know, they have side effects like death, you know, it don't matter. Bit stupid, isn't it? So they really care about your well-being when the side effect is death. Look at all the chips. The chips are the black bits. That is so full of chips you cannot believe. There is millions upon millions. And I can even show you these frequencies of these chips on a hack RF1. Because they're all low frequencies to high frequencies. I can show them all. I can show all them frequencies. Crazy. But not one person would look at this and say, look, I think we're fucked up. We know you're telling the truth now. What can we do to help you? And actually get a diagnosis that they wrongly diagnosed me and wrongly hold me, wrongly forced me psycho meds for simply telling them as a surveillance system. And am I wrong? No. Is this surveillance system? What do it look like to you? And that ain't stopping. But sudden death isn't a problem, is it? They want me dead. And then they'll liquidize me and put it over the fields. So this gets hooked up into them plants and then you'll eat them. And then you'll end up with this in you. Everyone's already got it in them. You got to learn to get it out of you. That's the trick. And people burying their head in the sand, or pretending that's not happened, or pretending there ain't a problem when there is. This is the one thing that does not go away. It's like a big debt on your head. And every day that debt is going up by £1 million, but your weekly income is only £100, and the debt is going up £1 million every week. So you ignore it and you bury your head in the sand. But at the end of the day, you've still got that debt being built up and you cannot afford to pay it. But all your wages go into that bank. So you have no income and the debt is going up. This is no different. The chips will keep on growing, keep on multiplying, keep on building from the nano to the milli to the micro to the whatever, to the centimetre at the most. And they'll keep advancing and growing and growing and growing until there's no me left. But don't worry about it, because that's just a side effect that you won't see your kids growing up. Because you'll be a cyborg. So it don't matter, does it? Because you'll be too stupid. But don't worry, Bill Gates will probably buggy you up the bumhole. So I shouldn't worry about it. And you won't be around to be compos mentis enough, because you'll be transhuman. It's disgusting, man. And all the fucking... The police have done nothing about any of this technology, because they get off on using it against the people. Because that's a surveillance tool to them. See? And that's all they care about. Because they're got corrupt as well. So anyone who ain't corrupt would be fighting against this technology and not allowing it or not using it. Do not use this technology. Do not use it in school. Do not use morphogenics. Do not use optogenetics. Do not use any jabs or vaccines or anything in clothes or food or water. Fight back against it, because that's you and your future. And this has got to come to you and your door and your body. And you and your kids' futures, if no one do nothing about it. And that's a given, because this is what viral shedding is. Viruses do not exist only in Bill Gates's computers. And this is a Gates and Fauci's fucks. This is what they've done to people. Pattern 060606, the mark of the beast. And this isn't just no blood specimen. This is my body growing massively, daily, weekly, monthly, getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger as I build out, until there ain't me no more. So people need to start thinking, because all they're doing is buying time for me to not be me no more. So then that do not matter. Because that's what they're trying to do. Just buy stall time, rather than try and help me deal with the problem, which is this. And the NHS are complicit in this, because they're using the technology. By using the technology, they killed millions upon millions of people and wiped out the whole not only the human species. This is not even a crime against humanity. This is a crime against every cellular organism on the planet. I've already seen hundreds of year old trees get cut down because they said they got a virus. A virus that don't exist in healthy trees, because they wanted to cut them trees down, which were massive oak and beech trees, just so they can get their line of sight for their 5G technology. And every lamppost is controlled individually and can kill you and stop your heart and target you and turn on and off genes, optogenetics. And if they're saying this is the new future for stuff, I could understand using optogenetics to help benefit people, or frequencies to kill cancer cells rather than radiate them to death when they don't need to. I understand that. That can be done in a controlled environment. That don't need to be putting a lamppost on every road, on every street in a 15-minute city, and then a climate change CO2, which is only 0.4 parts per million, which is bull. Because it don't matter how much CO2 is in the atmosphere, that could be 20% rather than 0.4. It has no impact on the climate. The solar system have the impact on the climate, We'll never go to a real hot climate because we have the vacuum of space, which is at a temperature. The only way we warm up is the surface of the earth, and that's concrete. So maybe we can have a concrete that don't absorb the heat, like a grass field. Maybe get rid of some concrete, paint it white to reflect heat. But all this cloud seeding is rubbish. That is this technology being sprayed on our food, in our water, and that's soluble in water, made by Darber and UK Arbor. And I got this by a swab, RT-qPCR. So why does the swab need to build out circuits out through my whole body if that is just to take a PCR test in the body? Why couldn't it have passed through me and out in a few days? What, or why don't it stay in the gut? Why is it gone past breaching the blood-brain barrier? Why are they risking giving people AIDS or autoimmune disease so they can have this grow in them? Because this grow in you when they give you autoimmune disease, because your body can't fight it back. And then that's why you get full body inflammation. And when you run and you do massive exercise, like a lot hard exercise, your body build up and it's short circuit and that's dead. And that's why you call the new syndrome died suddenly, because of this technology in here that's got to be in everyone, but they don't give a shit because it don't affect them yet. But when it do affect them, there'll be no one to help them because they'll all be dead. I thought I'd show a real time. This is a scab that I pulled off my leg. That's not healing, and that's full of, look for yourself. See the light. This isn't no camera trick. This is how I actually use light. See that? If you go one way, that's purple light. You can see the chips all embedded in it. If I look, I'll go out of focus, and then you see the rings, and then if I bring it in focus, I'll do it slowly. There's focus. Yeah, it depends on depth. And then I go out of focus the opposite way. See that? So I'm bringing it in focus, but that depends on depth. You see purple, and then that sort of go green. Look, you see it turn green donuts. I always go to green donuts. Water do that as well. And then you see the circuitry. The more you look, the more you see. And this is a scab from my leg, which has now been there for a couple of weeks. See, this is what would be in my skin, under my skin, or my skin would have built this, but that is a scab, so it come off, obviously. But that had been there ages, that had been there a couple of weeks. So this is what's happened from blood scab to 2 weeks. That's built this in the scab as if that was building it in my skin. And you see all them, all different sizes there, look, chips. Your body is rammed full of chips. Look at that big one in the centre. That circuitry there, look. I'll get it centre. See that? And then you see the ring where it go round. And see them, they're like, they could be, I know they quantum dot, but I know they, see that lights, look. Depending on focus, look. Purple, then I'll go to green. See, green donuts. If you look at my old pictures, I show you just with a normal camera, green donuts. People might just think, oh, it's not in focus. You just showing me something out of focus. But what I'm trying to show you is the green donuts show, each green donut, each one of them, even with a normal camera, when you see it, when you make sure you blur it deliberately. You see them, you know, each one is a chip. You can be guaranteed that each donut is part of a chip. And then purple is harder to see with a normal camera. But to blur, just to blur it to go, see? But that depends on depth of the focus. That's one thing about quite a strong microscope. It is crazy. Because you see what's in focus. You can have something above something else. And so you think that you'd only see the bit above and that'd get in the way. And then you go focus and then you go further down. And you actually like see underneath the thing that's above it because you changed the focus. That's a bit weird sometimes. And like, what is the focus? So I'm showing you by video, look. So you can see the whole bit where I'm going down in depth. Above it, coming down. Look at that one at the top left. That's a chip, look. And the colour's lining up, still going. And then I'm going past it. This is closer to it, sorry. This is zooming out. That's zooming out. Zooming in, zooming in, zooming in, zooming in, past zoom, past zoom, past zoom. But you see the light, look, because that's how your body communicates using light. But you can see that massive one there, look. It's probably a nano rotor, that one. That big one there, centre, that's probably the one that burnt my leg to begin with and caused the problems. That's probably that burnt my leg, burnt a mark in my leg where that then can cause infections and adverse effects. So if they try and say this is for health monitoring, if that's for health monitoring, that'd be a benefit to the body or a neutral to the body that can then monitor for a positive outcome. Because if there's going to be a negative effect on your health or adverse effect on your health or even death, why would you wear a monitor that kill you to be monitored to die by the monitor? Do you know what I mean? That makes zero sense because that's not about your health. And that's what people don't seem to understand in the NHS. This is not about your health. This is about control. Transhumanist agenda is not about just surveillance of everything. That's not just about that. This is about taking out the people who they don't want. Or the people they deem a threat. Which are, apparently I think that's people who can actually think. Anyone who's got a thought. See, look at it, all of it, look. And this is one flake. My whole body is full of it. And I don't just believe that's in my skin anyway. I think that's my whole tissue. All my tissue. So you see them gaps. You see that silver square. You see the two black blobs. And then you see a silver bit. And them spaces. Them spaces mean frequency. And then if you look out past it to the left, you see the band that go round. Look. Like a band that go out and around. Well, the gap in between is to do with passing samples of messenger RNA or fluids, and then that track in there is used for like chemical analysis, and not just that. That's also, that gap is for the frequency. I put out thousands of frequencies. All these put out frequencies. Spin position, photonics. This work on photonics. And this is why I tell you that's linked to a D-Wave machine at CERN and the Pentagon. Because that works on light. And when Big Pharma go and do all their research, they do it on D-Wave machines. Because they're connecting directly to people's body in real time, and within a nanosecond can make or change something in your body, turn on and off switches of genes, kill you, anything, kill switch. If you're within a few hours, that's why people are dying. Because there's also a fungi which is like the battery, and they're changing your body into a battery, and our water supply and all our food is just contaminated. And then this take all the minerals from your body, metals, iron, even your nervous system, that take the copper from your nervous system. That's why people got Guillain-Barré syndrome. I went for it. Strip the copper from your nervous system. That's why it's a parasite, because that's actually taking nutrients and that from your body that you use. The infrared light you get from the walls, the ceilings, the sky, the sun, all that light is being stolen from you to feed this. And not only that, as radioactive, using things like cesium and all rubidium and God knows what other, and isotopes, they reckon non-nuclear. But how do I know that I got NMR in me? Nuclear magnetic resonance. So they can see everything in my body. They pulse a frequency, EMF frequency at you, and they pulse it like going across the earth. So that's like 90 degrees from your head and your foot. So that's hitting your side on, basically. And then that line up all the photons in your body. And then, so they're all spinning straight on a straight axis. And then as they relax, that tell them what is there, what is next to it. So they know what chemical, if it's hydrogen, carbon, oxygen, sulfur, cesium, rubidium, all the elements in the product table. And because of the way that relax, that tell it what that's next to. So they can see your body literally on a cellular level with all the sensors. But the sensors have got to kill you anyway, because that's not stopping. And this is getting in your brain, because this is the first one I'm showing that's come from my leg. Usually I show it all from my head. And I show you sheets in my head, and then the sheets break down with UV light hitting your head. So they become into nanoparticles of like fool's gold, all different metals. And then they end up the size of a neuron in your brain. And then they use resonance for that frequency of, say, graphene. Then they use resonant frequency to bring it into resonance and to make your brain, because our brains have got no firewall against this, to make your brain resonate with that compound, so they can control not just you, because you have an individual resonant frequency. Your DNA is individual resonant frequency to you. And if they got your DNA, i.e. the swabs, they can target you and no one else will get affected, because they know the resonant frequency of your DNA. And then they can cause damage, breaks, death, you name it, changes, switch on and off things, anything, you name it. Or if they've got things like graphene in you, graphene has got its own resonant frequency, because that's better than silica and hold a charge, as magic in some respects, definitely. They can make a whole crowd resonate to anger, rage, anxiety, fear, fatigue, you name it. They can cause it. They could turn someone into rage where they'd kill someone next to them through rage, from flying over with an aeroplane or a helicopter or using 5G. That's what they could do. All them people in America, you got to think this is true. And one of them even said it. And they even acknowledged it to me angrily while they were doing psychological operations on me. This was about 2018. There was a boy in America, he shot up a school. But the thing was different with this boy, he was popular. He was not isolated. He was good at sports. he was popular. He was not like a recluse where he's, there was no signature of a normal person that would shoot up a school, which is someone who's like me, who don't mix with people, a recluse, stay in their room. They can get more brainwashed with propaganda online and all the rest of it. He had none of that. What made him, who was popular, good at sport, I think he was like a captain or a cheerleader, like something in some sport or something like that. So he was doing well at school. He must have been recognised. He wasn't the ordinary, just quiet person who just, like them, like me, how sort of, well, I was a joker, but you know what I mean, that type. And so he'd done something, yeah, and killed some people. I don't know what happened to him. I can't remember the whole story. And that just clicked in my head while they were and I said, hang on a minute, because I knew how dangerous this was. I said, if do this to me, what you're doing to me, I said, you could do that to someone like him, and you'd done it by this, like the psychological warfare. And they got arsey, man. The personality come back. I can't say that's through words or through injected thought, but they just tell you, and you know what they say. They got arsey. Was still no excuse for it. Like that, I got back. Like, even though we done all that to him, he still had a choice at the end of the day, which is your freedom of choice. They nearly made me snap. I'm not going to even talk about it. That could have went either way. I could have snapped or not snapped. And I was trapped. I felt trapped. I was snapped. I was angry. But I wouldn't anger. Like, you get angry with someone, or you want to hit someone because you something, or even though I'm not violent, but when you get that feeling. This was on a total different level. This was something that I've never experienced before in my life. This was rage. And people don't know what rage is, because I don't believe that's like a normal emotion of a person, to have that kind of rage where you could just kill someone and not stop. And that's what they can cause within a few hours of being targeted with a magnetic energy. But yet we're light energy beings, hence this technology. But they wouldn't admit that electromagnetic radiation have any negative effects on your body, because it don't cause enough heat or it's non-ionizing. Yet they understand that light, because of this technology, is up to genetics, so light can change your DNA, your genome and everything like that. They know that because this technology here is using light. You can see it, an EMF, and that's on a smaller level, like just the light. I started getting seizures from light, so I know that was this technology, and sort of understood it, because like I think that I can't explain how I think, but things always click for me, even if they're weird. I seem to be able to understand any concept pretty well, and this technology has led me down sort of like the Da Vinci Code, the man that he's drawn, and how the pyramids are made, and programmable matter and coherent matter. And I know, because my emotional intelligence, which they know that I got, because that's how I knew he was doing it, through emotion, because I got strong emotions, like more than a normal person. So I can link things by share, you could call it a gut instinct, but that ain't a gut, that's emotion. And through emotion, you can tell what's going on. Like, as soon as they said stay at home, protect the NHS, my immediate reaction was not, I need to stay at home, protect the NHS. My immediate reaction, which I even said out loud instantly, they're using emotion to manipulate us, because obviously I'd been going through psychological warfare where they were using images on me, positively, negatively, positively, negatively, and they just kept doing it. They were trying to break me down, and I think my autism's the only thing that stopped me never quitting, or no matter what the fare, life and death, I knew I was going to die. I accepted it. I accepted the death over submitting. I just could not do that. I just could not quit. So they couldn't bribe me. They tried to bribe me. They tried to trick me. They tried to say I was money laundering, but then I could take the piss and say, yeah, money laundering on a gyro and things like that, even though they banned the account for just sending my missus money through Western Union. They blocked that, and then they show me other things like another geezer, inventor under attack, and all things like that. And he went through a lot of the same experiences where he reached out to FBI in the White House and everything like that, and he was going to hospitals, getting targeted in hospitals, and this go right back. Like, it's got something to do with pay systems, and he knew how something was being cheated through pay systems or something. I got the pattern with all the thing in it because they gave it to me to like rub it in like an inventor's under attack, because I kept fighting back because my glitch that they had me was one thing they'd done to me, and the other was solar power air conditioning and energy, using thermal energy, which was something I thought of and always wanted to do, and they disabled me when I was then going to try and raise money for it. They crippled me so I couldn't have the energy to fight, and that's like Operation Orange in when they went to what do you call it, the Vietnam War. They used Operation Orange. That didn't kill the people, that made them too ill to fight, and that's an American trait, doing that. They make you too ill to fight. They weaken you so you cannot fight back because you are too weak to fight back. Fatigue and everything like that. And that's what this is. This isn't necessarily to just literally kill you. That is to disable me, because I'd done things like the job centre and other things that like against, like fight back against authority. So they deemed me as a threat to their system because I'd dare go to prison to or do something if that meant it, like in a positive way. Not, and I don't mean that I'd go to somewhere and do what that boy done, but I would do something that would mean something, but I would not hurt people. And I think they tried to break me. I don't know why. They call it TI, targeted individuals, or they call it gang stalked. And this is what I've been going through since 2016. But they stopped, and so they don't do it no more. They just target me with electronic weapons and all this stuff. But they're not manipulating any of my emotions, even though sometimes I get targeted, and the tinnitus and the ringing, and then my body go over magnetic, overcharged, and I get really bad adverse events, and I can be hit with satellite early in the morning. That wake me up, and then I see this purple, what you see here, scanning up and down my room with my eyes open. I don't see it with my eyes shut, I see it with my eyes open, even though I think it's actually coming from my body or my eyes, which is weird. But I just see it scanning my room, and then I see it fade in or come in strong, and then it just go in the distance as if there's a ghost going away from you, and it fade out, and then it come back, and then it just fade out again, come back, fade out again, come back, fade out again, like that. And you just see it swirling. And I think they're trying to see how weak my body is, because sometimes I get my chest go tight and I know they're trying to give me a heart attack. I've had drone surveillance by military, not a police, but a military drone, and someone died, all suspicious circumstances, and not one person has listened to me over that. Not even a copper, no one. Not that I reached out to a copper, but I was under a section once at the hospital, and I said to a copper, I want a report on a suspicious death. That's all I said to him, and he didn't want to hear it, didn't want to listen to it. So I go, did you hear what I said? I want to report a suspicious death. And he goes, don't want to hear it. See, they're being controlled people are being controlled to act the way that you can't get help, or you can be ostracized by society, and you think they must be reading something off some computer for them to be acting this way. Why am I always being treated different? And they can do that. So that shows you how much people are being controlled by this technology here. That people are being controlled by it. And this stuff is still growing in my body. And no doctor is doing anything to help me. No one's doing anything to help me get this stopped. And look at it. That's got to take over my body. This is like a cancer growing in me. I don't know how long I've got of me left. This transhumanist agenda. Do you know what I mean? And big tech, big pharma. That film Venom is a documentary, because I'm no different than that film Venom. They call it black goo and all the rest of it. And this is no different. AI parasite taking over my body. Look, quantum field through CERN, which do particle physics. This stuff here is particle physics. They work on the same technology, nuclear stuff, nuclear magnetic resonance and all the rest of it. All work on this stuff. I had surveillance vans outside once at my house, and I knew they were linked to the other one surveilling me, and that was something to do with nuclear stuff at the NHS, because that said it. So I knew that was linked. There's loads of things I've had linked. I've had MI6 like all in houses across the road, and I don't know why, because I don't even do nothing, and that's the bit that I don't get. Unless there's something I'm going to do. Something that's not happened yet. But that's a whole different That's a whole different thing, the looking glass. What is it? Why am I alive for? Is there a purpose? Is there something that they disabled me to prevent me doing in the future? I have loads of weird ideas, and usually that's against fighting back. I always think in that way, fight back. Legally, above the law. Not above the law, I mean with law. I was suing for this, look. They say that there was no Bluetooth chip in the thing. That's way past the Bluetooth chip. If people only could see this and know that this is going in them too. And it ain't just the Bluetooth chip. The Bluetooth chip is just for your proximity. That is it. This stuff has gone in you and you don't even know it. I see the fibers coming out of people. I see the brown squares on people as well. There's brown squares. That look just like a freckle, but they're square. You don't get square freckles. Freckles are round. And I've seen them on people. And I know 100% that's a biosensor. But you couldn't tell them it. You couldn't say, oh, you got a biosensor. That could be stupid, because you can't feel it. I got a chip under my skin. They tried to say I was lying. I got sectioned for actually lying. And when they sectioned me, you shouldn't have sectioned him for his belief system, because basically that is a belief system. Even though in the belief system, that's the truth. And he said, I believe 100% of what you're saying. Because he knew I was telling the truth. social services and everything. They get real-time surveillance on people in their house and their family. And they don't think to question how can they get real-time surveillance. And they're only getting a little bit of what the whole thing can do. And they're just picking people off one by one. And that's why all-cause mortality is up. Apart from one. There's only one fatality that is less. And that's respiratory disease, believe it or not. The only one down. Because this block up your arteries and everything like that as well. And I think they're just buying time for me to peg it. And I'm not getting help. And they don't want to help me because, I don't know, I get censored everywhere. LinkedIn, YouTube suppressed my things, but at least YouTube let me post regardless. Only a few things have been, but they just make sure that no one get to see what I post anyway. So, you know, I was censored, but they ain't banned me. Rumble wouldn't let me post a tweet the other day. And another thing I noticed about Rumble, I'm not slagging off Rumble because they're the only one who do let freedom of speech. When I had Rumble on my phone, I got a firewall that blocked everything. And Rumble was given Facebook IP address. So why is Rumble linked to a Facebook IP address? Or does actually Rumble have something to do with Facebook? So we believe in the freedom of speech in Rumble, but is that just another one? What's no different? But like Twitter, I'm still banned on Twitter. And I only spoke against the vaccine. LinkedIn, I posted a little short clip of a whistleblower talking about the software of life, which is this technology I'm now showing you now. This is the hack of the software of life. The WEF say we are now hackable animals. This is why. This is how they can control you. And this is why they're making a big cull. And then the DARPA, the NASA, and everyone else say, then we will win the hearts and minds. Through mind control, no doubt. NS Nano or something. And then they said you go have an avatar B and you go be turned to binary DNA rather than biological. We're going to be binary. That means with zeros and ones. They can already teleport atoms. I bet you they can already teleport people. That's not a science fiction. It's a science fact that they teleport. And they've changed everything because there's a lot of fungi that's growing over the whole planet of the Earth. And like hydrogel. And because they're soluble in water. And they're spraying it every day in the clouds. And then all the cellular organisms, plants, humans, trees, anything that's a cellular living thing, absorb it up, and then them roots grow, which are like fibers that grow out of my body, which I know what it is, and I see it in other people, but they don't even realise in themselves, which don't make sense to me. How come they can't see something, a big change that's happened to their body? Why do they not recognise that as a problem? I don't know. I'm running on now. Believe it or not, I've had three trips today. I took 3. I took one that wasn't that strong. I didn't get no visuals. So maybe I'm only staring at this for the visuals, so I'm going to stop. But my hairs as well, I'll quickly show. 30 minutes I've had looking at the same thing. I'm not going to post that, that's for sure. This is the white stuff is the paper it's on. See, chip in the gel. You see the technology all along the hair fibre in the gel. See, it's all the way along it. Every hair on my body have the technology, look, going all the way along it. There's a hair. See that? See that? Show you another hair. Because these are the hairs I pulled out from being a different colour. Even though they should be white and they're not. So they must have been the ones done in error. But if you look on that hair, that is just full of it. It's full of it. And I don't know how come I go like that for I got them all over. Yeah, here's a white one. These are the ones I pull out. This is the follicle end. See? That's a hair follicle. Look at it. And look at the white, clear see-through. And I keep telling them, I got hairs that's not human hairs. These are not human. They don't even grow like a human hair. Human hair isn't transparent and full of chips. And then there's, look, on it. See that? See? And they tell me that's a human hair. And these are what grow. They grow out of me like human hairs. Let's look for another one. If I can find one, there's loads. I'll make sure I just get one of these over here. Come on, man. I've got absolutely thousands. You know. See.